The storm arrived without warning. One moment the sky was dull and gray, and the next moment, dark clouds rolled in like huge monsters covering the whole town. The wind became wild, pushing everything, shaking trees, and throwing dust in the air. People on the street rushed to find shelter. Shopkeepers closed their doors. Cars stopped moving. Everyone wanted to go home before the storm became worse, but one man did not run. His name was Evan, a quiet human who always walked home with slow steps. In his hand, he carried an old, broken umbrella. The umbrella had bent sticks, torn cloth, and small holes. It could not protect him from rain anymore, but he still carried it. Maybe because he had used it for many years. Maybe because he did not like to throw things away. Today, he thought he would finally throw it in the trash. When the first raindrop hit his face, Evan sighed. "Great, just what I needed," he whispered. He opened the umbrella, and of course, it opened in a strange shape. One side was higher, one side was lower, and rain still fell on his clothes. But Evan did not care much. He planned to walk fast and reach home before the heavy rain started. But after only a few steps, he heard something, a sound he was not expecting, a soft, weak whimper. Evan stopped walking. He looked around. The streets were empty. Everyone had already run away. Rain started falling harder now, and the wind pushed the broken umbrella backward. Still, the sound came again, a tiny cry. A fragile voice. Almost like a call for help. Evan turned toward a narrow alley between two old shops. The alley was dark. The storm clouds made everything darker. Water flowed like small rivers on the ground. He listened again, and this time, he was sure. Someone was there. His heart beat faster, not out of fear, but out of worry. He stepped inside the alley slowly. At first, he saw nothing. Only shadows. Only water moving across the ground. But then a flash of lightning lit up the sky, and in that quick moment of bright light, he saw two glowing eyes in the corner. Evan froze. The eyes were not human. They were larger, brighter, and full of fear. He took one careful step forward. The glowing eyes moved back, and suddenly he saw a shape. A small figure, trying to hide behind a stack of old wooden crates. Another flash of lightning came, and this time the whole scene became clear. It was a female alien. She looked thin, tired, and completely soaked from the rain. Her clothes were torn. Mud covered her arms and legs. She held something close to her chest, something small. It was a baby. A tiny alien baby. The baby was crying softly, its voice weak, almost fading. The alien mother pulled it closer, trying to shield it from the harsh cold rain. But she had nothing to protect the child. Her body was shaking. Her eyes were full of fear and pain. When she saw Evan, she gasped and pressed her back against the wall. "Please, don't hurt us," she whispered in a trembling voice. Evan lifted his hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. "It's okay," he said gently. "I'm not here to hurt anyone." But the mother did not trust easily. She had fear in her eyes, fear that came from running for too long, fear of being hunted, fear of losing her baby. The child's cough grew louder. The rain hit them like sharp needles. The mother tried to cover the baby with her arms, but it was useless. The storm was too strong. Evan looked at his broken umbrella. A useless thing. A thing he was planning to throw away, but right now, it was the only thing that could help them. He walked toward her slowly. The mother tried to move back, but there was no space left. She thought he would take the baby or call someone. Her breath became fast. Her eyes filled with tears. Then Evan did something she never expected. He kneeled beside her and opened the broken umbrella above the baby. Rain stopped falling on the child. The alien mother's eyes widened in shock. She looked at the umbrella, then at Evan. The baby's crying softened. For the first time, The child had a small shield over him. Evan smiled gently. "You and your baby are safe with me," he whispered. But before she could answer, heavy footsteps echoed from the end of the alley. Someone was searching for her. The real danger was coming. And the broken umbrella was just the beginning. Rain continued to fall like sharp needles from the sky, hitting the ground so hard that even the sound of footsteps became hard to hear. But Evan heard them. The mother heard them too. Her whole body went stiff. She pulled her baby closer, her arms shaking with fear. Evan looked toward the entrance of the alley. The footsteps were slow but heavy, like someone large was searching for something or someone. The alien mother gasped softly and pressed her hand over her baby's mouth, trying to calm him. The baby gave a weak cough, and her heart almost stopped. Evan understood immediately. Someone dangerous was hunting them. He turned his head toward the mother. Rain slid down her face like tears. Her eyes were wide, filled with fear and worry. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "They found us. We cannot run anymore." Her voice was full of hopelessness, as if she had already accepted something terrible. Evan shook his head. "No," he said softly, "I won't let anything happen to you." The mother stared at him in confusion. She didn't understand why a human would help her. Her kind had been treated badly since they landed by accident. Many humans saw them as threats. Many tried to capture them. She expected the same from him, but Evan's eyes showed something different: kindness. Not fear. He adjusted the broken umbrella, making sure the baby stayed dry, even though the umbrella barely covered all three of them. Rain fell on Evan's shoulders, soaking him completely, but he didn't move. He didn't try to protect himself. He only cared about them. "Come with me," he whispered. "We have to move before they reach this alley." The mother hesitated. Her breath was weak. Her legs trembled. She looked at the baby and saw the child's little fingers gripping Evan's shirt from earlier. It felt like the baby trusted him already, something she had not seen in a very long time. Still she whispered, "Why are you helping us? Humans do not help my kind." Evan gave a small, sad smile. "I don't care what people say," he replied. "You're a mother. He's just a baby. That's enough for me." For a moment, the mother forgot the storm, forgot the hunters, forgot her fear. No one had spoken to her with kindness in many days. She felt her eyes burn as tears mixed with rain on her face, but the footsteps grew louder. A shadow appeared at the corner of the alley. Evan acted fast. "Stay low," he whispered, gently placing the umbrella closer to her and stepping a little ahead to block the view. The alien mother watched in shock as he put himself between her and the danger. No human had ever protected her before. A tall, armored figure entered the alley. The hunter. His eyes scanned the area with cold focus. Rain slid off his helmet, and he carried a strange device that beeped every few seconds. It was searching for alien heat signatures. Evan pretended to struggle with his broken umbrella, acting like a normal human trapped in the storm. He even cursed under his breath to look natural. The hunter looked at him. "You there?" The hunter growled. "Have you seen anyone running through this area? A female outsider? She is carrying a small creature." Evan's heart pounded in his chest. The mother held her breath, pressing her baby against her heartbeat, praying the hunter would not sense them. Evan forced himself to stay calm. "No," he replied, shaking water off the umbrella. "Only me. Storm hit fast. I'm trying to get home." The hunter narrowed his eyes. He stepped closer. Evan blocked the view of the crates behind him. He prayed the hunter wouldn't hear the baby's tiny breaths. The device beeped again. The hunter raised it. "Strange," he muttered. "The signal is weak here." "But it is here." Evan's stomach dropped, but then lightning struck nearby, and the loud thunder shook the hunter. The device glitched for a second, losing the signal. Rain grew stronger, covering small sounds. The hunter cursed. "This storm is ruining everything." He turned and walked out of the alley. Searching another street. Evan waited until the footsteps disappeared. Completely. Only then did he turn back to the mother. She was crying silently, her hands shaking from shock. You lied for us," she whispered. "You protected us." Evan knelt beside her again and held the umbrella over the baby. "You don't have to be afraid anymore," he said softly. "I'll help you. But we need to leave now before he comes back." The mother nodded slowly. Her trust in him grew stronger. With weak steps, she stood up, holding her baby close. Evan supported her, placing his arm under hers. Together, they stepped out of the alley and into the storm-filled streets. The broken umbrella, something Evan thought had no value, was now their only shield, their only hope, their only lifeline. The storm grew stronger as Evan guided the alien mother and her baby out of the dark alley. Water rushed down the street like a fast river, pushing against their legs. The wind screamed louder, shaking signboards and throwing trash across the road. Every step felt harder than the last. The mother held her baby tightly, trying to keep him warm. The baby's breathing was weak, and sometimes he made a small, painful sound. Each sound stabbed her heart. She walked close to Evan because she could barely stand on her own. Evan held the broken umbrella above them. Rain hit his back like ice. His clothes were wet, his shoes soaked, but he did not stop. His eyes stayed sharp, looking around every corner. He knew the hunter would not give up easily. The mother whispered, "They always return. They do not leave until they catch us." Evan looked at her. "Then we move faster." But as they turned onto a wider street, Evan suddenly pulled her back behind an abandoned bus. Because they were not alone. At the far end of the street stood two hunters. Both wore dark armor. Both held scanning devices. Beeping sounds echoed through the storm, growing louder as the hunters walked slowly, searching every wall, every door, every shadow. The mother's heart stopped. Her legs shook. She pressed her baby to her chest and whispered a small prayer. Evan placed a finger on his lips. "Quiet," he whispered. They crouched behind the bus, the broken umbrella barely covering the baby. Rain dripped from every direction, but Evan held the umbrella steady. His hands were freezing, but he did not let go. The hunters continued forward. Beep, beep. The sound grew louder. The device was picking something up. The mother grabbed Evan's sleeve. "They will find us," she whispered in fear. "Please, leave me here. Take my baby and run. They want me, not him." Evan stared at her, shocked. "I'm not leaving either of you." "You don't understand," she whispered urgently. "If they catch us together, they will kill you too." Evan shook his head firmly. "Your life matters. His life matters. I won't abandon you." The mother's eyes filled with warm tears. No one had said those words to her before. But suddenly, one hunter stopped walking. The device beeped loudly. He turned toward the bus. "Signal detected," he growled. "They are close." The second hunter stepped forward, pointing his scanner toward Evan's hiding place. "We split. Check both sides." Evan's heartbeat slammed against his ribs. He looked around desperately. The bus was their only cover. If the hunters walked along both sides, they would be discovered. He had seconds to think. The baby suddenly coughed. The mother froze. Her hand shook over the baby's mouth. Tears fell from her eyes as she whispered, "Please, little one. Please be quiet." The cough echoed again, soft, but loud enough in the silence between thunder. The hunters stopped. One of them turned sharply. What was that? Evan acted instantly. He grabbed a loose metal can from the ground beside him. He threw it as hard as he could toward a building on the opposite side of the street. The can hit the wall, loudly clang. The hunters spun toward the noise. "There!" one shouted. She ran that way. Without waiting, both hunters rushed toward the sound, splashing through deep water as they chased the fake signal. The mother's hand covered her mouth in shock. "You fooled them," she whispered. Evan exhaled slowly. "Just for now. They'll realize soon." He helped her stand, and they moved out from behind the bus. The storm was even harsher now, lightning flashing across the sky like white fire. Water came up to their ankles, pushing against their legs. The mother stumbled again. Evan caught her. "Lean on me." She nodded weakly. She had no strength left, but just as they reached the next street corner, a deep metallic sound echoed behind them. Ship engine. Evan turned around slowly. His stomach dropped. A small hunter drone hovered above the buildings, red lights scanning the area. It turned toward them. Its light swept across the road. Then it found them. A loud alarm blasted across the storm. The mother cried out softly. "They found us again." Evan grabbed her hand. "Run." They ran through the flooded street, splashing water everywhere. The drone followed, its light flashing red, sending signals to the hunters. Behind them, distant shouting began. "They are heading west. Move." The hunters were coming back. The storm roared. The baby cried. The mother's breath broke, and Evan held the broken umbrella tighter than ever, knowing that if he failed now, everything would end. Water crashed against Evan's legs as he ran through the storm, guiding the alien mother and her weak baby. The drone above flashed red light again and again, scanning the street behind them. Every beep felt like a countdown to danger. Rain hit their faces so hard it felt like tiny stones. Wind pushed them backward. The whole world looked like one giant storm trying to swallow them. "Keep going," Evan shouted, though his voice almost disappeared in the thunder. The mother tried her best. She held her baby tightly under the broken umbrella Evan kept above them. Her breath was fast and shaky. Her feet slipped every few steps. The baby cried softly, each sound weaker than before. The mother's eyes filled with fear, not for herself, but for her child. Evan looked back. The drone changed direction. It was coming straight toward them. A bright red beam scanned the water trail they left behind. "Left," Evan said, guiding her into a narrow street between two tall buildings. But the street was flooded almost to their knees. Dirty water rushed around their feet like a wild river. The mother almost fell, but Evan held her arm. Her skin was cold, shaking, and her steps were slow. "Just a little more," he whispered. "Hold on." But the drone entered the narrow street behind them. Its sound echoed like a metal monster chasing prey. The mother gasped. "It will call the hunters again." Evan looked up. The drone was getting closer. The red light slid across walls, ready to lock on their position. He searched for anything, any place to hide. Then he saw it. A broken metal door half open in an old storage building. "Inside," he said quickly. They stepped into the building. Evan closed the door, leaving a tiny gap so he could watch the drone outside. Inside, the air was cold and smelled like rust. Water dripped from the ceiling. Old boxes and metal tools lay everywhere, forgotten. The baby shivered. The mother hugged him tight, giving him whatever warmth she had left. Evan leaned against the wall, shaking from the cold and stress. "We can't stay here long. They'll search every building." The mother nodded weakly. I cannot run much more." Her voice broke. Evan looked at her. She was pale, exhausted, and trembling. She had been running for days before he found her. Now the storm, the fear, and the lack of rest were too much. "You can do this," Evan said gently. "I'll help you." She looked at him with tired eyes. Why are you doing this for us?" Evan thought for a moment. He looked down at the broken umbrella in his hand, something useless to humans, but life-saving now. Then he answered softly, "Because no one deserves to die in fear. Not you, not him. And because, if I were alone in a storm, I would want someone to help me." The mother stared at him, her eyes filling with tears again. No human had ever spoken to her with such sincerity, but before she could speak, the drone's red light shined through the gaps in the metal door. Evan froze. The drone hovered slowly, scanning the building's entrance. It beeped 3 times sharp, loud, and alert. Evan whispered, "It's searching for movement." He looked around quickly. His eyes landed on a large sheet of metal leaning against the wall. He grabbed it and placed it carefully in front of the door gap. Blocking the drone's view inside, the red light disappeared. The drone continued scanning the outside walls. The mother whispered, "You tricked it again." Evan smiled weakly. Not for long. Suddenly, thunder cracked across the sky, shaking the building. The roof rattled. A large piece of metal fell inside, hitting the floor loudly. The drone turned immediately. It started scanning the building. Again. Evan pulled the mother behind a stack of large crates. He placed the broken umbrella above them, spreading the cloth wide so the baby stayed dry. The drone beeped louder. "It heard the noise," Evan whispered. "It will come inside." The mother grabbed his arm. "We are trapped." Evan looked around. Behind the crates was a small back door, half covered by a fallen shelf. He pushed the shelf slowly, trying not to make noise. The shelf moved an inch, then another. His muscles burned from effort. The drone suddenly hit the front door. With a metallic clang, "It's entering," the mother whispered in panic. Evan pushed harder. The shelf moved. Enough for them to slip through. "Go," he whispered urgently. He held the broken umbrella low to hide the baby. And they quietly stepped outside into another flooded alley behind the building. Just as the drone broke the front door open, Evan did not look back. "Follow me," he said, gripping her hand. "We're almost out of this area." But in the distance, through the fog and rain, new lights appeared. Not one hunter. Not 2. 3 hunters were moving toward their direction. The chase was far from over. Cold air hit their faces as Evan guided the alien mother and her baby through the narrow back alley. Rainwater rose almost to their calves, pushing against their legs like it wanted to pull them down. The mother's footsteps grew slower with every step. Her body trembled. Her breaths came out sharp and weak. Evan noticed it immediately. "You're freezing," he said softly. She nodded, unable to speak. The baby was even worse. His small hands were cold, his tiny chest rising in small, painful breaths. Evan looked around. The hunters' lights in the distance grew brighter. They were spreading out, searching every block. The drone flew above the roofs, its red light sweeping across the alleys. They had no time left. Evan took a deep breath. "We can't run anymore in this storm. You'll collapse. Your baby won't survive the cold." The mother swallowed hard. Her voice broke when she whispered, "What do we do?" Evan pointed toward the far end of the alley, where a small wooden gate stood half open. "My home is behind that gate," he said. "It's not far, warm, safe, we can hide there." The mother's eyes widened in fear. "A human home? They will find us there. Someone will report us." Evan shook his head. "I live alone, and no one checks my place. Trust me. If we stay outside, you won't last 10 more minutes." The mother looked at her baby's face, pale, wet, and cold. She felt her heart tighten painfully. She had no strength to argue anymore. "Take us," she whispered. "Please." Evan helped her walk, his arm around her shoulder as they moved through the alley. The hunters' voices echoed behind them, growing louder. "Hurry," he whispered. The gate creaked as they pushed it open. Behind it was a small backyard filled with old tools, an unused chair, and muddy ground. Evan half carried the mother to the back door of his home. He unlocked it quickly and led them inside. Warm air wrapped around them instantly. The mother gasped softly. Her body almost melted with relief. Her baby stopped crying for a moment and let out a weak sigh. Evan closed the door quietly, turning the lock. "You're safe now," he said gently. The mother collapsed onto the floor, holding her baby close. "Thank you. I don't know why you are helping us, but thank you." Evan shook water from his hair and knelt beside them. "First, we need to warm the baby." He brought a dry towel and gently wrapped it around the small child. Steam rose from the towel as the baby's cold skin met its warmth. Evan carefully adjusted the broken umbrella near the heater, letting it drip dry. The mother watched him with wide, tired eyes. "You take care of him like he is your own," she whispered. Evan smiled softly. "A child is a child. Doesn't matter where they come from." For a moment, she simply looked at him, her eyes full of something she hadn't felt in a long time. Safety. But the fragile peace didn't last long. A sudden sound echoed outside. Hunter footsteps splashing in the backyard. The mother's body stiffened. "They're here," she whispered in terror. Evan moved to the window, but stayed low. He peeked through the curtains. 2 hunters walked past the gate, scanning the area with flashlights. He knew they would check every house soon. He returned to her quickly. "We have to keep quiet. They'll search nearby." The mother nodded, holding her baby against her chest. Evan dimmed the lights and helped her sit behind the sofa, hidden from the windows. The baby whimpered again. The mother covered his mouth gently. Evan whispered, "His breathing sounds bad. He needs rest." "He is sick," she whispered back. "We have been running for days. No food, no warm place. His lungs are weak. I fear I will lose him." Her tears dropped onto the baby's forehead. Evan's heart tightened. "No," he whispered firmly. "He will survive. I promise." She looked at him not with fear, but with hope she didn't want to believe in. "You promise?" Evan nodded. "As long as I'm here, nothing will happen to either of you." Outside, the hunters' flashlights shined through the cracks of the wooden fence. The drone buzzed above the roof. Thunder boomed. The storm grew even louder. Inside, Evan covered the mother and baby with a warm blanket. The mother closed her eyes for the first time in days. Her tired voice drifted softly. "You saved us when we had nothing left." Evan stayed beside them, listening for danger, ready to protect them with everything he had, even if all he had was a broken umbrella and his stubborn human heart. Inside Evan's small home, the storm was still loud, shaking the windows and rattling the thin roof. But the real danger was not the thunder or the hunters outside. It was the baby's breathing. It had become slow. Too slow. The mother sat on the floor, leaning against the sofa, holding her child close. Her hands trembled. The baby's eyes were half open, unfocused, his small chest rising with difficulty. Every breath sounded like a short struggle. Evan noticed immediately. He knelt beside them and touched the baby's forehead. It was burning hot. The baby's hands were cold, but his skin felt too warm inside. "He has a fever," Evan whispered, worry growing in his voice. "A high one." The mother's eyes widened. Her voice shook. "He has been sick since the last planet we escaped. I had no medicine. I tried everything. But his fever keeps climbing." She hugged the baby tighter, tears running down her cheeks. "I cannot lose him. He is all I have left." Evan felt a deep ache in his chest. He had never seen such fear in someone's eyes. "He needs medicine," he said firmly. "Now." The mother shook her head quickly. "No, you cannot go outside. The hunters are everywhere. They will catch you. They will kill you if they find us here." Evan looked toward the window. Flashlights moved across the backyard. The drone still circled overhead. The storm made everything worse. But he also knew that if he stayed here, the baby wouldn't last much longer. "He will not survive another hour without help," Evan said quietly. The mother closed her eyes tightly, shaking her head in pain. I do not want you to risk your life for us. Evan touched her shoulder gently. I already decided to help you the moment I saw you in the alley. And I don't break my promises. Her lips parted, but no words came out. She could only stare at him with a mix of fear and hope. Evan grabbed his jacket, soaking wet from earlier. He checked the umbrella. It was still damp but usable. He opened a small drawer and took out a flashlight and a thin scarf. You stay hidden. Don't make any sound, he whispered. I'll go to the clinic 2 streets away. They might have medicine or something close enough. The mother looked terrified. Evan, please. If they catch you, he smiled softly. They won't. Humans aren't what they're hunting tonight. Before she could say anything else, he stood up, took a deep breath, and unlocked the back door. Cold wind hit his face instantly. He stepped outside. The mother clutched her baby closer and whispered helplessly, Please come back. Please. The storm outside, the moment Evan entered the backyard, water splashed around his boots. The storm felt stronger now. The drone's red light swept across the rooftops again, and Evan ducked behind a pile of crates. He moved slowly, carefully, keeping low to the ground. Thunder cracked, shaking the sky. Evan used the noise to move forward. He slipped out through the side gate and stepped into the street. Water rushed down the road like a dark river. Signs swung violently in the wind. Trees bent sideways. The storm hid many sounds, but also hid him from the hunters. He darted between cars, breathing heavily, keeping the broken umbrella low so the drone would not catch the shape of his head. The umbrella shook in the wind, but Evan kept it steady. He reached the first corner and froze. 2 hunters stood there, scanning the street. Evan pressed himself against a wall, staying in the shadow. His heart slammed in his chest. If they turned even slightly, they would spot him. Lightning flashed bright white. The hunters paused, looking up. Evan used that heartbeat of distraction to slip into the next alley. He ran. Inside the shelter, the mother sat in silence, listening to the storm. Every sound outside made her jump. Every distant shout made her shake. Her baby whimpered weakly. His breath rattled. His eyes rolled slightly, as if he was drifting away from the world. No. No, my child, she whispered, pressing her forehead to his. Stay with me, stay. For the first time, she prayed to the stars she once believed in. Evan reached the clinic's back door. The place was dark, the power had gone out. He tried the handle. Locked. He pushed harder, still locked. He closed his eyes, then kicked the door near the handle. The rusted metal bent slightly. Another kick. And another. The door broke open. Inside, the clinic smelled of alcohol and dust. He moved quickly, searching drawers in the emergency room. He found fever medicine, saline packets, a small oxygen pump used for children. This should work, he whispered. But as he turned to leave, a loud metallic noise echoed. Outside. Hunters. They had heard the door break. Evan clutched the medicine tightly. He had to get back. He had to run, for the baby, for the mother, for the promise he made. Evan ran back through the storm with the medicine bag held tightly against his chest. The wind pushed him sideways, and water splashed high with every step. His clothes were soaked, his breath heavy, but he did not stop. Every second mattered. Every heartbeat reminded him of the baby's fading breath. Behind him, hunters shouted through the rain. He's in the west alley. Move! Their footsteps splashed aggressively. The drone circled above, its red light flashing wildly, marking Evan as prey. But Evan did not care. He wasn't running for himself. He was running for the mother who trusted him, and the child who might not survive the night. He turned down a narrow street, slipping behind a trash container just as the drone's beam swept across the road. For a moment, he held his breath. The drone hovered, scanned, then moved away. Evan sprinted again. His legs felt numb, but his heart pushed him forward. Inside the shelter, the mother sat on the floor with her back against the couch, her baby lying weakly in her arms. The light from the small heater flickered softly, casting a warm glow on her worried face. The baby's breathing grew slower, too slow. The mother held his tiny hand tightly. "Stay with me. Please stay," she whispered, her voice breaking. Every minute felt like a lifetime. Every second felt stolen. She looked at the door again and again, hoping to hear Evan's footsteps, praying he would return. "Please come back," she whispered. "I cannot lose him. Not after everything." A thunderclap shook the house. She flinched. The baby's chest rose, then paused. "No, no, no," she cried softly, rocking him in her arms. Her tears fell on his small face. She kissed his forehead again and again. "Please breathe, please." But his breaths were faint, fading. Evan returns. The back door burst open. Evan stumbled inside, soaking wet, gasping for air. I got it. I got the medicine." The mother let out a cry, half relief, half fear, as Evan rushed toward them. He opened the bag with shaking hands and pulled out the supplies. "Lay him back," Evan said gently, "just for a moment." The mother nodded, though tears streamed down her cheeks. She placed the baby on the blanket, her hands trembling with fear. Evan worked fast. He opened the fever medicine and measured a small dose. The baby's lips barely moved. Evan held the medicine to the child's mouth and whispered, "Come on, little one. Stay with us." The baby swallowed weakly. Evan set up the small oxygen pump, placing the soft mask carefully over the baby's face. Warm air flowed into his tiny lungs. His chest rose slightly. Then again. A little stronger. The mother covered her mouth, watching with wide, hopeful eyes. "He's responding," Evan whispered. "He's fighting." Minutes passed in silence, except for the storm outside and the soft hum of the oxygen pump. Then, the baby let out a small cry. Weak, but alive. The mother broke into sobs, this time from relief. She pulled the baby close but gently, careful of the mask. "He's breathing. He's breathing," she whispered, her voice shaking with joy. Thank you, Evan. You saved him." Evan let out a long breath and sat back on the floor, exhausted. He smiled softly. "Told you I wouldn't let anything happen to him." The mother looked at him with eyes full of gratitude so deep it almost hurt. "You risked your life, for us. You had no reason, yet you did." Evan shook his head. "I had every reason. You were alone. You needed help. That's enough." She placed her hand gently over his. "You are more than a human to us. You are a guardian." The hunters' retreat. As dawn approached, the storm slowly weakened. The hunters' voices faded. The drone stopped scanning. Its battery drained during the long night. By sunrise, the streets outside were quiet again. The danger had passed. Inside the warm shelter, the baby slept peacefully for the first time in days. His breathing was steady and soft. The mother watched him with a calm expression, touching his cheek gently. Then she looked at Evan. He sat near the window, watching the morning light break through the clouds. She walked softly to him. "Evan," she whispered, "you gave us life. You gave us hope. I can never repay this." Evan smiled. "You don't need to repay anything." But she shook her head. "You saved my child. You saved me. From this day, our bond is not just of safety. It is family." Evan looked surprised. "Family?" "Yes," she said softly. "Where I come from. When someone saves your child, they become part of your heart forever." She placed the broken umbrella beside him, now dry but still bent. "This," she whispered, "is no longer broken. It is a symbol of the moment you saved us." Evan looked at the umbrella and felt something warm in his chest, a connection deeper than words. The storm had destroyed many things, but it had also created something new, a bond, a promise, a family formed by fate. And as the first warm light of dawn filled the room, the mother said quietly, "You did the impossible, Evan. You protected us." And now we will protect you.